Hello, welcome to this online training video, and this video is to help you understand how to utilize the most underused asset in your business, which is your list. Now, my name is Dan Harrison. I'll tell you a little bit more about me shortly, but this video is 100% content. There is no pitch, nothing like that. It's just content. And if you've ever heard about anything to do with your list whatsoever, and you want to find out actually how you can use it and how you can leverage it to win more business and actually earn more in your business, then actually watch to the end of this, because you'll learn a whole load of stuff that's really, really useful for you. So before we start, I kind of want to cover who this video is really aimed at. And if you have a business where you offer a service, either to businesses or to consumers, then what you'll learn from this and how you use your list is actually really, really helpful. It does work for businesses that offer a physical product, but it works way better for businesses that offer a service. And if you are fed up with the peaks and troughs in your earnings, the feasts and famines, this method of using your list actually is really, really good at evening out and taking away some of the famine periods, which are really frustrating from a cash flow point of view in your business. If you want to build a pipeline of your customers so that you always have someone to talk to and you've got leads coming in all the time, then this method is actually really, really key to how you do that. And it's actually quite straightforward. It just requires a little bit of thinking, and I'll take you through that thinking as well. If you've heard about lists and squeeze pages before, but you don't kind of know what they are or how they work and how they fit within your business and marketing and that kind of thing, this training will completely explain that. So it helps you to understand all the key elements of what makes lists work, both from your existing customers and otherwise. And I'll take you through that as well. And as a business owner myself, I completely understand the issue with famine months, which is where you have target earnings in your business, the minimum earnings you want to earn, and you have certain months where you're just not quite earning enough because it's a little bit quiet or you haven't got enough leads to talk to. Now, I know what this feels like. I've had this in my own business from time to time, and I have found a way to solve this, and this is how you talk to your list. And it's the key aspect of which I'm talking about in this webinar. Now, if you're fed up with the quiet periods and the famine periods with your business, then this will really, really, really help. And the idea is that you always have people to talk to so that you don't have periods of drought where there's no business coming in. The idea is we change things so that your minimum earnings are always above the line. So you don't have periods where you're earning too little. You just have periods where you have real peaks in your earnings. Because if you have a poor month or quiet month, you can talk to your existing prospects or to your list and bring some extra business and push your earnings above the line. So really, all of this is about is actually having a pool of people to always talk to, so that when you do want some extra business or extra work or extra money, then you have some people that you can just go out to, have a conversation with, and bring in some sales. In terms of what to expect from this, I'm going to cover why your list is so valuable, and this is misunderstood. There's a lot of noise that comes from the States. There's a lot of noise coming from infomarketers explaining, saying, oh, the money's always in the list and this, that, and the other. But in the UK, and certainly when you're dealing with ongoing service-based businesses, the way you look after your list is actually much more important than actually the size of it. So that's why I want to explain why that's so key. When you've got existing customers, I'm going to talk to you how you look after them so that you always have someone to talk to. They stay listening to you. They stay talking to you, so that you're not losing people as fast as you're gaining them. You're constantly gaining people, key people to talk to. I'll talk about a very simple way to sell. Now, I'm not a salesman. I'm not really particularly a marketing person. I'm very good at what I do from a technical point of view. So I've had to learn ways to sell in the way that works for me. And I'll show you how that's done. And the best thing is it's actually you already know how to do this. So I'll just kind of really highlight actually the good thing that you can do to get those sales. And a key aspect of this webinar, this video, is to show you how to build a pipeline, or otherwise known as a marketing funnel. And they mean the same thing. It's essentially you've got At one end you've got leads or potential customers, and at the other end you've just got customers. And it's what you do between taking someone who's not a customer yet to what they do when they actually become a customer. Now, if you've been working on learning how to grow your business and researching your business, you've probably heard a whole number of terms with regards to marketing and digital marketing. So you may have heard of CRM systems, customer relationship management systems. They're just software. You may have heard of lists, lead magnets, squeeze pages. And in this video, I'm going to explain all of them and the context in which they fit. So hopefully by the end of this video, you understand actually where all of these fit in terms of bringing you more business. About 30 seconds on me. So my name's Dan Harrison. I'm the developer of a piece of software called a Squeeze Page Toolkit. If you've heard of the organisation of the Entrepreneur Circle, one of their trusted suppliers, so it's a select number of suppliers who provide a business service that the Entrepreneur Circle actually strongly recommend. And the Entrepreneur Circle is an organisation focused on growing businesses. I'm a public speaker. I do a whole range of talks explaining different things relating to getting more business, particularly using your list. And I'm also renowned for my love of chocolate. And no other reason, I just particularly like chocolate. So I use chocolate a lot in my marketing. So the whole concept of this video is all about your list. And another word for your list is actually your database. And they all mean the same thing. It's a collection of people to talk to. So in your business, chances are you have two major lists. You're going to have your existing customers or your clients. So these are people who have spent money with you at some point in time. Some may be currently spending money with you. Some may have spent money with you 2 or 3 years ago. But it doesn't matter. They're just people who have spent money. And the other major part of your list is the people who have not spent money yet. So these are prospects or leads or unconverted prospects, whatever term you'd like to use. And these people haven't yet spent money with you. For the reason they may not spend money with you varies. They may not be ready, they may not be right for you, all kinds of things. But the idea is that you have people who have spent money and not spent money. And they're both extremely important to your business and growing. So this next tip is genuinely worth thousands to you because it's so simple and so easy to use. And you can use this today if you wanted to. So secret number 1 is your existing customers will buy from you again. Now this seems so simple, incredibly simple. But I know so many businesses do not exploit this. To get more sales, you just ask. And again, it seems over trivial, but it is that straightforward. How you sell, or how I sell, and I'm not doing it in a pushy, heavy-handed kind of way, is I go for the human touch, is I just have a conversation. I don't do sales pitches, I just talk to people. Now, it kind of seems really obvious, but the reason why this works so well is actually in this day and age we've become so obsessed about technology, we've forgotten the basics of selling. And the basics of selling is just about relationships. And just talking, and just having a conversation, picking up the phone or seeing someone face to face. So this is kind of going back to basics, the old-fashioned stuff, because we're not selling something to someone if they don't want it anyway. We're only making an offer to someone for them to buy if they actually want it. If they're not interested, they're not going to buy anyway. You can't force someone to buy something. You're just going to make it really clear why someone should buy something from you. And more often than not, they'll buy. This is why the conversation is just really important, because you can discover what the customer's problem is or what they're particularly interested in buying. And when you understand that at a really deep level, then when you offer the right thing to them, they'll just buy. And it's that straightforward. And because we are so obsessed about automation and technology and trying to make everything as slick as possible, we're forgetting this one key step, which is the human touch. And by far, this has been the biggest impact of my business in the last 18 months, where I've completely shifted to using just simple conversations and relationships to actually build up my customer base. So thinking that you've got your existing customers already, what could you sell? And Bear in mind you'll know what they've already purchased and how much they spent. For some customers, you can actually just offer the same product or service again. So, for example, if they've been on a workshop and they want a refresher of the workshop, then you can just sell coming back to the workshop. If you have done, say for example, if you fit kitchens and someone has a number of properties, you've done one kitchen for them, they might want another one for another property. So it's just the same product. But equally, you can sell a related product. So this may be accessories, or it may be a larger version of something, or it may be something else that's very, very close. So if you're doing a workshop, you might have beginners and an intermediate workshop. So you sell them the next part, the intermediate workshop. If you sell accountancy services, then you may offer one type of service to that customer, you might add 2 or 3 on top. And the option, rather than just selling directly to that customer, you could actually just ask your best customers for a referral. So if you have some customers who you have a really great relationship with and you like that kind of customer, you can have a conversation with them to ask them, do they have any friends who would also be interested in what you sell? Because you already have a relationship with that customer, asking for a referral from one of their friends means that you're going to attract someone fairly similar to that customer. It's an easier way to bring customers in the way you like those. So we all have customers that are really great and some customers that are less great. So to attract more great customers, just ask your great customers for referrals to their friends. And that's a fairly simple win. So you don't actually have to sell something again to that customer, you can just ask for another customer. So I'll give you some examples of things you could do. I've got a few businesses here and the different examples of what they could offer. So I mentioned an accountant briefly before. So if you offer basic accountant services such as for corporation tax or for VAT returns, then you could offer a payroll service or insurance or additional financial related products that complement the core offering that you offer. If you're a web developer, you could do additional changes to a website, add new features. If you're a beauty therapist, you could do discounts for treatments that this customer buys already, but entice them back on your really quiet days. So if your certain days of the week are really, really, really quiet and you want to attract more customers to fill those slots, then you could do a discount on those treatments. Equally, you could offer different treatments on those quiet days as well. But the idea is just offering to your customers something that they already want to buy. And if you're a business coach, then you could do an additional workshop or a new product, which might be an info product, or it might be an additional service or a special mastermind day. But the idea is take something that will add additional help, additional value to that person so that actually they'll want to buy. And that is it. There's no seediness to it. There's no trick to this. It's work out what customer has, work out what customer needs, and then offer something that helps both. I want to talk about my 3-year mistake. And clearly, with the reason I'm producing this video is I'm an advocate of building a database and building a list. And the reason is for pretty much 3 years, I wasn't using a list. I wasn't building a list. And I actually suspect this 3-year mistake actually made me longer if I actually worked out when I started exploiting a list of customers. Because it has been by far the easiest way to get additional business, additional work, compared to any other type of work I've ever done in the business. So that you can spend so much money and time on marketing to bring in new customers. But just by talking to existing customers, I've had so many wins that it allows me to spend less time worrying about the new customers and just look after my existing customers. In most businesses, we'd like to think we could support as many customers as we can manage, and hundreds, thousands, fine. I've made a choice to actually go for a smaller number of customers, offer really amazing service, so that the retention on those customers is so high that I can actually spend my time and money looking after customers rather than bringing new customers in. And that makes for a much easier business model because you get referrals naturally anyway, but also your attrition, the rate of loss of customers, is so low that actually it's much easier to grow your business because you're keeping hold of your existing customers. Now, I wish I had employed lists years ago, because I reckon if like 3, 4, 5 years ago, if I'd taken what I know now, I probably could be retired because they're so powerful. And it's just how you manage those lists that's so crucial. And I've done 5-figure launches from fairly modest lists, very small lists, just because of the relationship I've had with the people on that list. And that's why now all of my attention is actually just about building my list and building relationships, so that I always have the customers available for when I'm ready to have them. So I'm going to move on to my £10,000 email. Now, this is an email I sent a few years ago, and it's kind of been the core of everything that I do. Now, the reason I've chosen this as opposed to campaigns I've run since is because this demonstrates in the best possible way how simplicity wins every time. Now, this email was just one email that I sent to my list, to my existing customers when I was a web developer still. So before I started working on list building and developing software such as the Squeeze Page Toolkit, I was a web developer. I specialised in WordPress-based websites, writing custom themes and custom plugins. It was very successful, and I had between 50 to 100 customers at any given point in time where I'd done different work for and ongoing work with. Now, that means the list I had is fairly small. So I can't remember exactly the number of people on the list at the point I sent this email, but it would be around about the 60 or so. So a very small, modest number. Yet it generated about £10,000 of business in just a few hours. And what's also interesting about this email is how simple it is, because it is just one email. And I'll show you what this email is, and I'll read it out as well. Now, this is not a very good email, okay? This is when I was just starting my marketing journey, and it's a really basic email, but it still worked really well. So I was going VAT registered on the 1st of November 2012, and that's because the WordPress development was going really well. And I had a large number of customers who were not VAT registered. So therefore, going VAT registered put a 20% price increase to them. So therefore, I made them 20% more expensive to most of my customers. So this is the email I sent. So, hi James, looking forward to Halloween and Bonfire Night? Or are you just sick of Christmas TV adverts already? As you can imagine, I'm looking forward to working on some fireworks shows again this year. I've got 4 booked, and 3 in London, 1 is in Kent. Now, just as a side note, I do fireworks shows in my spare time, so that's what it's about. And some of my customers know this, so it helps build a relationship. This is just a quick note to let you know that WP Doctors Limited will be VAT registered from the 1st of November 2012, due to the massive growth we've seen in the last 12 months. I'm sure that you're not keen on VAT, I'm not sure anyone is really, but it is a necessity. We're not quite into November yet, so if you'd like to pay for anything in advance without the 20% VAT increase, please just let me know by replying to this email. If you've got some work coming up that you'd like us to sort before Christmas, we have a tiny bit of capacity. So I could do a quote for you and get it prepaid so you can avoid some of the VAT. Otherwise, I should be in touch about exciting a new product launch next month. Speak soon, Dan. So that's the very straightforward, simple email. And there are some key aspects of this email that make this work. So the first paragraph, I talked about the fireworks shows because my customers knew that in my spare time I did fireworks shows, so that helps build a relationship and a rapport and just remind them that it's not a sales pitch. Then I've got my date. So I've got the 1st of November 2012, which is the deadline date, which is actually just about 7 days before where this email goes out. And the benefit to them is they save 20% if they prepay before I'm VAT registered. The call to action is very straightforward, is they just have to reply to the email. So looking at the elements of this email it's informal, builds rapport, there's a deadline, there's an obvious benefit to the customer, and the call to action is just to reply. So it's very simple for them to see the benefit and do something about it. And the reason this worked really well, and why I had £10,000 worth of sales orders just come in straight away, was people just replied saying, yep, put me down for £2,000 worth of prepaid work, or 1,000 here, or 3,000 there, is because of the relationship I had with the people on that list. It's not a big list, there's about 60 or so I think, but it's just because I knew them really well, they knew me really well, and I could just do this offer. The benefit to them was really clear. They saved 20%. And if they're not VAT registered, then it's just a massive price increase. And because there's a deadline, it gives them a reason to act. And rather interestingly, when I sent out the email, I had the responses come back and it totaled to about 10,000, just over. But when I raised the invoices for that work, everyone had paid within 24 hours. So not only did I get £10,000 worth of work coming straight away, is actually they paid really quickly. So that was a cash injection straight into the business. The way I structured the deal was that I had a couple of questions about when people replied and saying when can they redeem it, and I effectively gave them about 12 months of leeway on this so they could pay up front and book me for work later, which therefore made the buying decision easier because they didn't have to think about it. They just paid for it now, knowing that they would work with me shortly. And ironically, I created the offer specifically to help my customers, not because I was trying to make sales, but that might also contribute to why it worked so well. And the same method would probably work for you, so it's worth trying something that simple. You might not be getting VAT registered, but you may be having a price increase that's coming soon, or you may have some limited availability. So doing an offer that sells some capacity can work really well. So if we're going to kind of briefly recap, is actually the simplest win in your business right now that you can take away and use today is talk to your existing customers. The easiest win for you is talk to your existing customers. So if you remember nothing else from this presentation, it's just actually think about your existing customers and what can you do to talk to them and to get some sales. So talking about having existing customers, the core of this training video is actually to help focus on your prospects or leads, the ones who haven't spent money yet. This is the crucial bit to building a pipeline. So when you focus on the ones who haven't spent money yet, then that's when you can really start to grow your business, because you're getting people who are thinking about buying and you're just helping to nudge them over the line to actually making a spend. Now on to talk about the early part of the web. In the early days of the web, making sales were really easy because you effectively just sent people to a website, and for those that were technical enough, they would effectively enter their credit card details and buy something or pick up the phone and call you. There was so little competition, it was very, very straightforward to do. And the challenge was therefore just a matter of getting visitors to your webpage. Now, as you know, in the last 5 years, competition has massively increased because now everyone's realizing how they can use the web, as opposed to just thinking it's a good idea. So we've got an issue where life is so much more busier that we get completely distracted by social media, phones, constant interruptions at work, or just life generally. So therefore, people forget. So gone are the days where someone just looked at your website and just bought something from you. They completely forget and just move on. And that is a big, big problem. So that's where this big change has come from. Life's got busier, people forget about you, they don't buy on the first time they see your website or learn about you. And that's really, really crucial to how all of this now works. So now, what is the solution? Well, you send people to your website, that's fine, that's usual. But now you capture their email address, or other contact details, but usually email address, and you build a relationship. And this relationship is then what leads to the sales. And the reason is this, is when you have your website, is that there are several people who are interested but not ready to buy today. There are people who are interested but want more information first before deciding either way. And then there'll be some people who are just not interested at all. So the remaining slice will be people ready to buy right away. And there's a key bit of research that was done by Google called the 0 moments of truth. And it talks about several things, but fundamentally what it comes down to is how many times you need to interact with a customer before they're ready to buy. Because if the customer is not ready to buy straight away, you need to work with them to try and establish if they are the right customer or if they're the wrong customer. And the research stills are some certain numbers that you can use, that you have either 7 hours of time with the customer, you have 11 touches, which is 11 different communication methods over a period of time, or there's an additional number which is 4 different locations, so they see you in person or in some way in 4 different physical locations before they're ready to buy. And what's really interesting with this is when I first learnt about this fairly recently, just a few months ago, I went back through all my data to look at my customers to see how many times I had spoken to them or emailed them to find out how many times it was before they purchased. And rather interestingly, it was around about 10 to 11 times before someone purchased. So even applying this to my own business, I discovered that actually it was taking a number of times before someone purchased. Now those touches, interactions were phone calls, emails, perhaps meeting them in person, perhaps seeing them when I've been teaching a training course or attending a training course, or if I've been on stage and they've seen me, or they've downloaded something from me, or they've purchased something small from me. But it's a number of times that they've interacted before they've purchased a core product, which is really, really interesting. Because if you're showing your website and there's no way to capture someone's email address, well, if that's just one touch, there's still another 10 or so touches to do before they're ready to buy. And if you're not doing that, you are throwing money away. And that is a big problem. And hopefully with this video I can show you how to fix that. Now, just having a list will not get you any sales. You need to develop it to get the sales. And it's the relationship that's important. It's treating your list as humans. And this works particularly well in the UK. That get you the sales. And it does sound like it's a lot of work. It isn't really. It just requires a bit of thinking to do it in the right way. And if you're not doing this, you really are just making your life harder. So kind of recap again. So the easy win is talking to your existing customers. Most prospects will not buy right away. They do so after a certain number of touches and exposures to what you do and how you work. And it's the relationship that is the key aspect that will get you the sale. And by doing this, we can deal with the famine months. And the key to this is to look after both your existing customers and your prospects so that you can make sales offers to deal with these famine months so that you're actually always above your minimum earning. So how do we build your prospects and leads? Because if you're constantly building your list of prospects, then you're always going to have new customers coming into your business. And this is what may be called as a pipeline or a funnel. And creating a funnel is quite straightforward. We take the customer prospect through a number of small jumps, small little hoops for them, so that we can actually start to work with them, but also filter out the customers that aren't right for us. And it starts by offering the prospect an incentive. And I'll cover in quite a lot of detail what I mean by it. We use that to capture the prospect's email address so that we can then build this relationship. And this relationship is usually triggered by a series of emails. Not always, but for the most part it is, even if it does trigger additional interactions like a telephone call or a meeting or perhaps an attendance of an event. So we capture the details so that we can send emails, and the emails then start to trigger these interactions, these touches. Once we've built a sufficient relationship, we can make a sales offer, and some people will buy, some people won't, of course. And then what we do is we nurture a relationship with the prospects and the customers. So essentially we look after everyone and then periodically make additional sales offers, and we keep repeating the process. So it's not a matter of build a relationship, sell, and nothing else. It's build, sell, build, sell, build, sell. The idea being that many of our prospects will buy multiple times, so therefore we want to increase the chance that will happen by just maintaining a good relationship. When I talk about an incentive, what I mean is something called a lead magnet. So as the name suggests, a lead magnet attracts leads or prospects. We could call it a prospect magnet, but the common name is a lead magnet. We go back to the diagram, and by offering a prospect an incentive, that gives them a reason for them to give us their contact details. So it's kind of thinking like a trade. So your prospect will get something useful, so your lead gets something useful, and in return you get their email address. So therefore what we offer has to be useful enough they want to give their email address. Because so many people get so many emails, there's a degree of trust we have to earn in order they'll give it up. So we have to make what they get really compelling. So what is actually a lead magnet? Well, you're not selling anything. It's usually free. 99% of the time it's something that's free. It has to be something of genuine value, so it can't be just rubbish tat like a branded pen. It has to be something properly useful. And if we can fix a problem or solve something even so slightly, this will help us build credibility because we can show something actually working. And the customer actually has to want it. There's a difference between needs and wants, and if they want something as opposed to needing it, the sell for them to sign up for this lead magnet is much easier. And the ideal is that this lead magnet is cost as little as possible. The reason is not every prospect that comes to us will be right for us. So therefore, initially we don't want to spend too much so we can filter out prospects and spend more money on the ones who are going to be high quality prospects. And the cost is important because this makes it scalable. This allows you to constantly pump people into your funnel. Now, there are lots of different types of lead magnet, and this will give you an idea of where we can start to give value. The most common one is a report. The report might be 1 to 2 pages, 3 pages, but very, very quickly conveys in 5 minutes or so some real valuable insight to a business owner. So it's something very, very quick for the business owner or the customer to understand that as soon as they read it, they go, yeah, I can use that, and then understand. And that builds credibility very quickly. You could theoretically do brochures if that really fits for your business. Ebooks are very, very common, and there's a few more. You've got webinars. One-to-one phone calls are really good if you're a very popular consultant of some kind, because there's a natural scarcity and therefore value in the phone call itself. Because if you're just offering value rather than selling, then they'll actually just want to talk to you about what they've got. That allows you to understand what their issues are if you are the right person for them to buy from. Events can be a particularly good one, so tickets to a free event of some kind. Podcasts are increasingly popular for certain markets, so that might be something that's useful for you. Templates are very useful for things where it's quite difficult to do something, and filling in the blanks is really easy. So, for example, privacy policies, design templates, things for presentations. So something the customer can just download, tweak and use and deploy. It can be very, very, very useful. Like a phone call, meetings can be very popular if you're just giving value. So if you're only giving something as opposed to selling, work really well. Training videos, much like this one. You've got product samples, if it's appropriate for your business, online training, free trials, and so on and so forth. Most of these, there's no obvious cost. At most, there's a cost of time, but often the cost is quite minimal. So giving you some examples of lead magnets may help a little. So a training course could be a really good one. It could be digital, it could be in person, and it could be offered by, say, someone who's doing social media training, showing people how to use social media to win more business. So this could be the 7 ways to use Facebook to get more customers. It's quite a compelling title and it's quite straightforward. And by specifically saying 7 ways, it suggests that it's not hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of concepts that are hard to learn. It's just a handful to pick from. A video series, which might be done by a personal trainer, which is there's a slight typo there, how you do a 5k run without stopping within 10 weeks, even if you're a couch potato. So if a personal trainer is trying to attract potential customers who want some help with their willpower for training regularly, for running, perhaps even building up to a 5k, 10k run, perhaps even a marathon, then a free video series that shows them how to just get started could really help in terms of that personal trainer find the people who just need the extra little bit of help. If you're an osteopath or chiropractor, you might have an ebook or something that people can download which helps them do exercises and stretches for helping with their back pain. Ultimately, if someone has a problem with their back or their posture or some other physiological issue, they're still going to need to see that customer. So offering an ebook that shows a few stretches is really, really good because they still need to actually meet the person to help. So that's why giving away some value in that respect works really well. Now I've got a couple of lead magnets of here, there's a couple of screenshots for my ebooks, and for business owners who are trying to grow their list and get more customers, then the 6.5 quick wins for getting more inquiries from your website and the busy business owner's guide to building your list in 78 minutes or less appeal really, really well to those customers. So the PDF downloads, they're very, very quick, so business owners are often quite impatient. So this allows you to digest the material very quickly because you can quickly swipe it. So it's perfectly attractive to the kind of customer trying to attract. So the easy wins talking to existing customers. Most prospects don't buy. Immediately they want to build a certain degree of relationship. The relationship is the key aspect of the sale. And you can use a lead magnet to get a prospect's email address. So you have that opportunity to build a relationship. Because if you think that someone visits a website and goes away, you have no way of knowing who they were or how to contact them ever again. However, if you have their email address, you have half a chance of actually talking to them again because you can send them a few emails and carry on the conversation. So that's where in the funnel actually capturing your prospect's email address is actually so key. And when I say capture, there's nothing very underhand about this, there's nothing secret about this. We're just encouraging the visitor, the prospect, to voluntarily give us their contact details so that we can send them something. That's where the trade is. And capturing an email is nothing more than just adding them to your list. Because now we have their attention, we can now start adding more touches to help build this relationship. So I'm going to focus on building a relationship, and we'll come back to the actual capture part later, because I think the relationship part is really, really critical. And how do you build a relationship? From a business point of view, is although this is quite a softy kind of title or label to give this, all we're doing is giving us an opportunity to be considered in that person's mind. We're being a conscious thought in their mind just for a brief moment. So that's where the relationship is coming from, to help establish a degree of rapport. And a key way to do this is we give them more interesting content or more useful information. So the lead magnet usually gives something of value, something that's useful and interesting. The nurture, the follow-up, is more of the same. It might not be exactly what you've already given, but it's additional content. And I call this value because the importance is it's all about the customer, not about you. So it's of value to them. And the way I kind of sum up what value is it's something that the prospect or lead can use and enjoy without spending any money yet. So that's why it feels like it's a continuation of the lead magnet or incentive, because it's following on from giving something more away rather than selling just yet. And typically you're delivering the additional value via email. So it might be an article, case study, training video, an offer of a telephone call or an event, or some templates. So it's all been going to the prospect via email because it's very simple to automate, it's very easy to automate. And effectively we're automating the relationship, the rapport building with the customer. And at certain points in time, we introduce something such as having a telephone call or asking for a reply to the email to add the human touch to the automation. Because if you constantly sell to your prospects, you will kill the relationship. If all you ever do is just sell, what will happen is you'll be known for just selling. So you either get lots of people unsubscribing from your list, or they'll just stop reading your emails completely. Because that's all they're expecting from you. Conversely, is if you're always giving value, then you're known for giving useful information, so therefore your open rates will tend to increase on emails because they're expecting something good from you. And that makes the sale more easy because you're helping first rather than selling first. Now you can send emails automatically using an email autoresponder. And this is the automation part of relationship build, because this massively reduces how much work you'll need to do to build a relationship. If you have 100 people coming into the top end of your funnel, to the top end of your pipeline, there's a lot of people to talk to try and build a relationship. But if you're sending all the emails automatically, and 3 or 4 of them offer to phone you or have a phone call with you, that's massively more massively more time efficient, massively better for your time. But you'll find the most engaged people, the people who are most interested in buying from you, will voluntarily get in contact with you anyway. So they'll put their hands up saying, yes, I have a phone call, or they'll reply to your email. So the automatic emails effectively work as a filter. The most engaged prospects will contact you. The least engaged prospects will just ignore you. And because of that, using automatic emails is a great way of doing this efficiently. So software that can do this for you, and you may have heard of some of these software tools. So pure email tools, you've got MailChimp, Aweber, Constant Contact, and there's a few hundred more. But all they do is they store the user's name, email address, and they just send out emails to those people. And you just configure the email. Now, often software tools do a little bit more than that, but fundamentally that's what they're designed to do. The emails can be pretty, you can add images, you can add downloads, all that kind of thing. But fundamentally the software sends the emails for you. Then there are CRM tools. I mentioned this briefly. Customer Relationship Manager tools. And Infusionsoft, All Clients and Active Campaign are examples of these. And CRMs are fairly similar to email tools. They do everything that email tools do, but add an additional layer on top. Whereas email tools will just store the name and email address, CRM tools would store even more data, such as notes. So you can add notes for a customer when you've spoken to them, perhaps their telephone number, their postal address, perhaps things that they've downloaded or purchased. So it's a lot more comprehensive than the data you can store. The latter is more useful, these CRM tools, because you can determine how much information you have on someone to determine what offers you send them. So if you say, for the sake of argument, you have a list of 200 customers, and you find out that 10 of your customers bought product A and are very likely to buy product B, then you can make an offer just to those 10 customers for product B. And you'll see that by talking to people more specifically, that once you have that information about them, you'll get more sales for less work. Now this is called segmentation. It's kind of beyond the topic of this video, the training video. It just goes to show that by collecting more data, you can understand your customers better and therefore do more. So an autoresponder is just a series of emails, and the idea is that when someone joins the list, after a preset time delay, which you choose, you can automatically send an email. So you might send an email after 2 days, which I've shown on the diagram. Then you might think, okay, I'll wait another 2 days and then send another email. So that's where you're just drip feeding a little bit of information to them, but not hounding them every day. Then you might leave it a little bit longer, and after 3 days send another email, and then send an email again after another 3 days. You can send as many emails as you like. The idea is, for UK, you probably wouldn't send emails daily, but you can send them over 2 or 3 days apart, and that will often work out. And you can slowly spread the emails out over time, so they're very quick up front and start to slow down so that you gradually tail off your interaction with the user. Now that's quite an advanced thing, but I want you to kind of understand that you can send emails automatically using Autoresponder software, which is an email tool or CRM tool, and you can send the emails at a predetermined amount of time automatically. So if someone joins your list on the 1st of the month, then on the 3rd day, on the 3rd of the month, they'll get your first email. If someone joins on, say, the 10th of the month, then on the 12th of the month, they'll get the first email. So whenever that person joins, the software will work out when to send the next email based on the number of days that have elapsed. And that's why it's very good for automation, because you can constantly be educating and briefing and talking to your prospects by sending these emails over this period of time, so that they always receive the same sequence of emails, the same spacing apart, and you're effectively looking after a customer into a process. So let's recap again. These wins talking to existing customers, so look at buying patterns of your existing customers and see what they might buy again. And because prospects don't buy immediately, it's the relationship that's key to getting the sale. and we're using lead magnets to get the email address so that we can use emails to build the relationship automatically. And we're building the relationship automatically using software, which is Autoresponder software. Now, when it comes to making a sales offer, as I mentioned before, it's almost just a conversation. It's an offer to do a quote, or an offer to have a phone call, or offer to have a phone meeting. So do what you're used to doing already when you make a sales offer. And if it's quotes or meetings or just making a price offer, then just do what you're used to doing. There's no magic science to this. Different businesses have different ways of making this work for them. But I would just encourage you to do the relationships side of things around what you do already, and then you can adjust your process for sales later if you wish. Because here's my big secret, is if you're just starting to send emails to your prospects, you will get replies. These replies often turn to sales. So this is quite a common email that I would get. It's, "Oh, hi Dan, that's really good timing. Just thinking about you. I need some help. Can we chat, Dave?" And this kind of reply is very common to emails you send out via autoresponders as well, because if that person you're sending an email to enjoys and reads your content, you'll stick in their mind and think, actually, yeah, I do need to get around to that, and it prompts in their mind to speak to you. So it's often that every 2 or 3 emails to autoresponders, you actually get someone inquiring to make a sale. So I skipped over this before about capturing email address, and this is the crucial part of the whole lot. Yes, that we need to offer an incentive, and yes, we need to build a relationship and make a sales offer. But the really key part is actually capturing the email address, because without that, you can't do anything. And the process of capturing an email address is quite straightforward, but it's something new. I'm going to take you through that now. So a squeeze page is a type of web page that allows you to capture email addresses. So it's a type of web page with no distractions on the page. So all you can see is this blue form in the corner of the page, just here, nothing else. It offers an incentive, which is the lead magnet. It's the thing that the user wants to get in order to give you their email address. And in order to get it, they have to provide you with their name and email address. So in this situation, they only get the lead magnet if they put their details in, because it's emailed to them. And that's a very crucial step, because they can't just get the thing that you're offering for free without giving something up themselves. So it's this form that actually collects the details from the user and adds them to your email list or to your CRM tool, so that emails can be sent automatically. And usually the first email you send to a user is actually the lead magnet signed up to get. I'll give you an example of another squeeze page. So the one I'm showing currently is one of mine. This is one from Infusionsoft. There are no links or menus or buttons on the page other than the one that allows you to sign up to get a demo. So that's where the squeeze aspect comes from the squeeze page name. Yes, it's a web page, but they're squeezing the attention of the user, squeezing their call to action, what they actually do on that one thing, which is fill the details on the form. And that's why there are no distractions, because that lessens the impact of the page. Here's another example that's quite straightforward. It's another PDF ebook that I've produced, and they just have to enter their details to get it. But you'll see there's no menu on the page. There are no links on the page. It's just the box where they put their details in. And that's hence where we're squeezing their attention. So effectively they can put the details in, or they can leave. That's all they can do. So take you through an example squeeze page, kind of give you an idea of the structure. And the most key aspect to this is the headline. And if you think of newspapers where you have these big headlines, they capture your attention to draw your attention to the small print. So that's why the headline is so important, because you're talking in words that will call out to the person who you want to read the page. Because you'll have a lot of people looking at your squeeze pages who are not necessarily your target customer. So you want to scream out to the people who are your target customer and get the rest to go away. So that's where the headline helps filter those people. The text for the page goes into a bit more detail to explain what they can get by providing their details. and starts to reinforce so we can get a little bit more than what the headline has started to do. Obviously you need the way to capture the details, which is where the data entry form comes from. And then you might use the rest of the page to explain the benefits of lead magnet, maybe testimonials. But additional things that help explain what they're going to get. So recapping again. So the easy win is talking to existing customers because people don't buy straight away, and therefore you're using a relationship that you've built by capturing their email address to get the sale. And it's done via emails and using Autoresponder software to send the emails. And we're going to capture their details using squeeze pages. And squeeze pages send their details directly into the Autoresponder software for it to kick off the process. So that's why I'm to introduce my squeeze page toolkit software. So as I mentioned before, this is not a pitch, I'm just going to show you how it works. And I've designed it specifically for UK business owners because so much software is designed for fairly technical people, so it's non-technical software. And it's a really easy tool to create your own squeeze pages pretty quickly. And as business owners, we're really, really busy. There's always something to do. So therefore the software is designed to be really fast so we can create something quickly. We can move on to the next project. And a key aspect of what we do is we're completely UK based. We're actually based in sunny Hampshire. So all the support via email done in the UK, and if necessary, we speak over the phone if you need help as well. So I wanted to give you a fairly quick live demo of why I say it's quick. And it's also help explain how the squeeze page works. So I'm going to switch over to the software. So I've logged into the squeeze page toolkit, and this is the section that shows pages. There are a couple of elements to setting up the toolkit which I'm not going to show you just for brevity, but we have plenty of videos that explain how all this works. So I'm going to create a new page. And I mentioned the key aspect to creating your first page is actually the title. So I'm going to go over to the left and drag a title over to the page. So this captures the attention of someone visiting the page. And the text is very, very important, but I'm just going to put some text in here to demonstrate what it is. So I'm going to paste some text in here. The tool makes it very easy to design and change colours and fonts and whatnot. So I'm going to change to a handwritten font, reduce the font slightly, get blue, and there we have our first title. Now we have all kinds of tools on the page, but the first thing I want to do is break up the page so we can change the content slightly. So I'm going to drag this 2-column splitter, which divides the page into two. And for this one, I just want it slightly larger on the left. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some text. Drag some text onto the. Now I've written some text already, but this is the part where you explain what the lead magnet is and what it does. So paste some text in here. Adjust the padding so it's a little bit larger. So this explains the lead magnet, the benefits. But to do that, you might also have a list of benefits, which makes it easier for the user to read. So I'm going to drop in a list as well. And the list, we can do all kinds of things to explain what it is. I'm just going to paste some text in here. So I'm going to adjust this one, so it's key benefits 2. Adjust this one, so it's key benefits 3. And lists make it very easy for the user to skim read the page quite quickly. I'm going to do a couple other adjustments to this. So I'm going to go back to the first one. I'm going to make the key benefit bold. Makes it a lot easier to read. Short. And I can do that for the rest if I wish. I'm just going to do it for the first bit. And for the second item. And if we click on the list style, we can change the icon to be something a bit more interesting. So I'm going to choose a custom image bullet. And I'm going to pick one from the list icons that we have. Quite like this little blue star. So we'll choose a blue star, so it goes to the list icon. So we're starting to see that it's starting to pick up into how it looks. In order to capture details, we're going to need a capture form. So I'm going to drag in this opt-in form over here. And we're going to start to see how this works by magic. So I'm going to start to customize this. So I'm going to change the text for the title of this opt-in form. You choose a better title than this, but I'm just choosing this to demonstrate the point. And customize the font to match the headline. And the title white, and you'll see why in a moment. Now, here's where I choose the form. I've set the system up to talk to my email tool automatically. So it's going to pick up all the forms that I've created, which allow me to insert data into the Autoresponder software. So a good way to think of this is I've set it up so that emails come out automatically. So I'm going to choose one of my forms, and you'll find that this form generates automatically. So there's no code, it just works automatically. I'm going to customize the button because I quite like orange buttons. You can experiment with different text if you wish. I'm going for a fairly simple one that says about getting instant access. And then I'm going to change the background to blue. And we just need to change the elements of the form. So go back to the form, those white. So now you see that the page is starting to come together and it's becoming very easy to read. Now I also mentioned about building a page that you'd have testimonials. And the testimonials are just people saying good things about the thing that you're offering for free. And this helps build trust and rapport for people actually saying this is really, really good and that you must get it. So that's why we would have testimonials in this case. So I'm going to go to the side here and click on social proof. Click on testimonial, drag it over. So scroll down a little bit. And this is kind of a pre-built testimonial, so therefore it's quite easy to adjust. So I'm going to choose a picture. So I'm going to choose this picture as this lovely cow, and I can make the testimonial photo nice and round. And I can choose a different design. There's some pre-designed designs here, so I'm going to go for blue. And all the other aspects of this you can just tweak and change yourself, including the testimonial itself. I quite like this design, so I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to move it across. And I want to change the design slightly. I'm going to change the colour as let's change the picture of the person in it as well, so it's a monkey. And then save the page. So I've, in just a couple of minutes or so, built a very basic page. Obviously you want to spend some time writing some text. And obviously you might want to add video or images to the page as well. Often for a squeeze page I'd recommend having what's called a hero image, which is an image which conveys what the lead magnet is, what the downloading is. Because when you buy something online you like to know what you're getting. So I'm going to add one here. So I'm clicking at the beginning of the text, choosing image. I've got a lead magnet picture here. It's a bit large. So I'm just going to make it a touch smaller. And there we go. And again, save the page. So when I go to view the live page, you see this is what it looks like. And we've designed this software so that it works on mobiles as well. And there's some very important reasons for that. But fundamentally, it's just taking a few minutes to build a page. So yes, squeeze pages can help build your list, so they're really a key aspect to that. And obviously you need to send people to the web page in order to get them to sign up. But I want to kind of highlight a point that if you don't maintain and build your list, you are really making your life much harder in your business. And this is something I discovered in the 3 or 4 years that I wasn't building a list actively, is getting new customers was really, really hard work. I didn't know if something was coming the next week or the next month at all. When you have a list, I found that by sending out emails, I had people stacked up to 6-7 weeks. So I knew what my schedule was well in advance. And it took away a lot of the stress and hassle. And you're probably thinking, yes, Dan, this looks really, really cool. Looks really, really hard, but looks like it's too much work. Yep, it does involve some effort. It doesn't have to be complicated. Because really what we're doing is reminding customers to buy, educating them until they're ready to buy, staying in their mind, and encouraging them to actually purchase something when our competitors have given up on us long ago. That's all we're doing, really. Because when we're creating a funnel, we offer an incentive, we capture their email address, build the relationship, I'll make a sales offer, and nurture a relationship. And what you'll find is most of your competitors will not do the vast majority of this, which can blow them out of the water. And particularly, you'll find your competitors, even if they're doing some of this, they will not be continuing to look after the relationship and to build a relationship. So, yes, there's a risk of giving away lots of information with incentives and building a relationship. But this day and age, people expect information for free. So it's the implementation or the shortcut to get stuff done. That's what they're paying for. So giving away great information is really fine. It's just they're going to be paying for helping you get there faster. So I can take an example of some businesses that do this so you can get an idea of what it might mean in the real world. A social media manager would offer a lead magnet that helps people to get more sales via Facebook. Their emails might share some examples of how other businesses are using Facebook, so it helps you to understand what you're trying to do. And the core business is doing it for them. Facebook page, Twitter profile, and so on. So yes, you're giving away the information on how it can be done, but if someone's really, really busy, they don't have the time to do it themselves. So therefore the sales offer, the core business, is actually doing it for them. If we take an accountant, so lead magnet might be how to calculate your consultant rate. So if this accountant's trying to attract consultants, then the value in their email may be examples of typical rates, how to increase hourly rate, how to decrease costs, how to save tax, that kind of thing. But fundamentally, consultants are going to be interested in getting this done for them. So they're going to be interested in the tax returns and personal tax. We'll take an example of an osteopath. So an osteopath might offer a lead magnet which is easy back exercises, but the value emails may be exercises to do during the day or what to do when they pull a muscle. And a core business is actually seeing a customer in person and doing physical manipulations. So therefore it's actually working on the customer to see what they can do to help them. So giving away the information doesn't matter for the osteopath because it's actually seeing a customer help. So I've covered loads of content in this video, and I'm sure you want to watch it 2 or 3 times. So but the key aspect is, it doesn't matter what you do in terms of building a list right now, is if you talk to your existing customers, you'll get some sales. If you have some prospects that haven't purchased and you've got in your database already, you can use those to start building a relationship and to eventually get the sale. A lead magnet is a good example of doing that. But you can also build a relationship with more emails. And Autoresponder software allows you to automate this so you're not doing it yourself and you're saving yourself time. And you use squeeze pages to add more prospects to Autoresponder software. So you're always building your funnel and pipeline, so you're getting more prospects to speak to and therefore more customers. By selling more to your existing list and to the prospects, you should theoretically increase your earnings so you're always above this minimum earnings you need. So I hope this has actually been really useful to you, and at the very least you're going to send an email to your existing customers to see if you can make some sales. If you're ready to build your customer list, I'd love you to have a trial on Squeeze Page Toolkit. We have a 30-day free trial, so you can play around, build your own page and test it out very, very quickly. We have a whole load of videos that show you how to do all of that and get visitors to your pages, and just to see if you can build some more prospects. And to do that, if you just go to buildyourlist.co.uk/next steps, then it'll just show you what you need to do next so you can get cracking. Hope you found that useful. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck.